Do you? How do? Beautiful lords and ladies of the nerddom. Manny Roman. With me as always, man with Golden Lights, Tryndamere.
Oh, it's good to be back. Talking some TFT today. I'm so excited.
Yeah.
I love it.
Oh yeah, dude. We got some pretty big changes. So welcome to This Week in Gaming for the week of 2/22, so February 22nd. Today's story is going to be about the latest TFT update, 11.4. We saw a pretty good amount of changes. One-cost characters getting nerfed, a lot of nerfs to different origins and classes, so we're going to go ahead and dive into that with you guys here. So one of the first changes I noticed was the changes to Chosen. Sorry, so I have an issue on my end. So they changed the way Chosen's work early game. So Chosen's odds early game, instead of being 33%, it's now 50%, which is good because there were times where, I don't know if you ever had this, but I would get a Fates in my first shot. And it would be like the worst Fates you could possibly get. And I'm like, I'll pass. And then it's third carousel and you haven't gotten another Fates. I don't know if that's ever happened to you, but it happened to me a lot.
Yeah, no, it's why I've been having a lot of issues sometimes with this season, as my early game has just been so rough, because let's be honest, if you don't get a Fates Brawler, Duelist, or Cultist early, you're going to lose a lot of health. You're going to lose 30-40 points before your game really starts picking it up. I mean, I love Fortune, but if you get early Fortune or Dragon Slayer, you might as well not buy, and then you're stuck without getting a Chosen, possibly for, 5-6 rounds.
I think you meant Dragon Soul, because you just combined two things.
What did I even say? I don't even know what I said. Dragon Soul is what I meant, though. Thank you.
You're good. So yeah, the base odds of getting a Chosen shop is going up to 50%, which is very nice. It allows for flexibility too, which I think the game really does need. Because at the start of the season, the big thing was, most things are viable. And then we played it a little bit more, and people were like, wait a minute, Duelist is still really, really good. Wait a minute, 9 Cultists is still really, really good, So I feel like it was just more people playing around with the new things versus everything was really as balanced as we thought it was, because Mage has already fallen off the cliff. It's pretty much just a Soul, Dragon Soul. There's no real Mage comps that often anymore. The other changes with Chosens, we saw the rolling odds at level 4 go from 60% one cost, 40% two cost, to 80% one cost, 20% two cost. I don't hate that, I think, because it deters the people like you, sir, like you, that rush 5 by the second round of the game.
I'm still good, baby. I rush 5, so I'm not worried about 4. I don't want a 4 Chosen. I don't want a white or green character. I want blue characters. That's why I rush 5. Because when I get my Duelist, Callista at 5th fight, GG. GG, baby.
Has that ever actually happened to you, level with me here?
Yeah. Oh, I get Duelist Callista all the time. Or I get Sharpshooter or Cultist, Callista or Severe, all the time. That's why I just rush 5 now.
You're a big bully, but I respect it. The other big change we saw here is that they actually nerfed all of the buffs for the Chosen characters. The spell power bonus that characters were getting is gone from 30 to 15. Bonus attack was cut from 20 to 10. Mana reduction was 25% to 15%, and then bonus health was 400 to 300. So Chosen characters just got a nerf all across the board, which honestly it's kind of like weirdly conflicting here, because you see them push back the odds of you getting a more than a one cost character early game, but then they nerf the Chosen characters in general to make it less of an incentive, like less important to get a Chosen character early.
Yeah, which I mean, personally, I really do like that a lot, just on the fact of I am someone like I said, I rush 5. And then I try to rush 6. Like, I try to get a high level chosen if it's either a 3, 4, or 5 gold, usually just 3 or 4. And I just really like playing like that a lot more myself. So someone like me, this helps because now I don't have to worry like, okay, well, if this guy has a chosen, I just lose early. So there are things about it I really do like. Not gonna lie, really sad the whole every round chosen isn't gonna be a thing yet, if that ever does happen.
You want every shop to have a chosen in it.
Well, because that's what I thought, like, some of the talks was like, because even right here, the quote in here, didn't roll no, because I could have sworn I saw some sort of notation on their Twitter that they were going to talk about doing a chosen every single round. But it says maybe in the next shop, about to break my laptop for like the quote in there. That's what I at least thought they were talking about. But that's what some of the stuff I've at least heard and seen that they were thinking about doing was a chosen in every single shop, which would be nuts. Absolutely insane.
It would be. I guess I wouldn't hate that because it's still playing off the odds that you get by level.
Yeah.
You know, I honestly wouldn't hate that. I do like that they at least up the odds because man, if you got like every once in a while you just get a drought of chosen characters and you just lose. Like you don't get a chance to play the game pretty much, and that's tough. Changes in all in all are interesting though. It's kind of like weird. They're like playing both sides. They're like, yeah, you get chosen more often, but they're not nearly as good. Like, yeah, it's kind of weird.
Yeah, no, fair.
So in terms of the classes and origins, there's been a lot of nerfs across the board. Assassins getting nerfed on both sides of their buff. So their crit chance, it's not a huge change. I will say that. So their crit chance at 6 assassins has gone down from 55 to 50. That's it. That was the only change made. The crit damage, there's a little bit more of a nerf to it. The bonus crit damage at T2 has gone from 60 to 55, and at T3 from 100 to 90. So, not egregious. To calm the masses off the ledge of forcing 6 assassins.
It's the only way I was able to get past, like, Brawler and Duelist right now was Assassin. So it does think a little bit. I'm guessing this will kind of take that away. Running Assassin, like I've been going Assassin Ninja a lot lately, and I've been getting automatic top 3 pretty much every single game right now. It's been nice.
You're the kind of people that make me sad because I want to try to run like a Calicity carry or something along those lines, and then I never get to because everyone gets nuked. Other changes, Brawler finally got the nerf I feel like it kind of needed. It's not actually, you know what? It's not even that big of a nerf, really.
Yeah, just a little bit of health.
The only change to the health was actually at 4th tier, where it's 8 Brawler goes from 1400 or 1600 to 1400. In terms of the damage, that's where we see a little bit more of a change. At 6 Brawlers, it used to be 60 attack damage. It's now 40. And then at 8 Brawlers, it used to be 120 attack. It's now 80. So cut it down by, 33% on both ends?
Yeah, I really hope this does fix it, because I hate it, because Brawler is one of those comps you just run Brawler, and it doesn't even matter what items you get. You're going to lock a top 4, it feels like. And I really just kind of hope this kind of pulls it back a little bit. I mean, Brawler is just a good comp, but, man, it just makes me sad.
Yeah, and we'll see later when we talk about the actual characters that are getting a nerf, that it's going to get a little bit harder with some of the characters in Brawler. I think maybe it's just one in particular. Moving on though, the only buff out of all of this, they buffed the bonus magic resist that the 9 cultist Galio gets. Why not make it better? Why not?
Yeah.
Why not?
I don't get it. I really don't.
It just bothers me so much because there's never been a comp like this in TFT that you just try to get every cultist humanly possible and a double cultist, and then you're just guaranteed a top 3.
Yeah.
You don't even have to do anything. You just have to hope the rolls go your way. Spend all of your gold on rolling if you need to, and you get your 9 cultists and you win.
Yeah.
You get LP.
Yeah, no, again, that's another comp that you really don't, items just don't matter. That's kind of how I feel about Brawler too, and it did shock me that they gave a buff in any sort of sense to this here. I don't know, it's insane.
So we'll go ahead and pick it up a little bit. The rest of the buffs, or I guess classes and origins getting changed. Dragon Soul sees a nerf to the max damage that the Kamehameha wave of Dragon Soul does. It also sees a nerf to the spell power and attack speed that they get from 40, 80, 160 to 40, 70, 140. So a couple nerfs on the T2 and T3 Dragon Souls. Divine, Divine got it got rebalanced. So T1, you're actually getting a fair amount less true damage and bonus reduction. And T2, you're going 5% less. T3 stayed the same. T4, they actually buffed it. So if you go 8 Divine, they buffed it. Which is, I think that's a fair balancing, because you were seeing a lot of people run like a weird like Divine Duelist hybrid build, and it was working really well because you would just, get a Chosen Jax and just he would pop off. He would absolutely pop off because he has both those buffs. Duelist got a nerf to its attack speed at T1, 2, and 3. Again, I think that's just another, step in trying to divide Divine and Duelist, which I think is fine. I think that's good.
No, 100%.
Elderwood and Warlord both got nerfed. Elderwood has a reduction in bonus armor and magic resist at T2 and T3. Their spell damage and attack damage got nerfed at T3 from 20 to 15. Warlord, which I think this is another one that needed something like this because 9 Warlord was really strong lately. The bonus health got nerfed at T2 and 3. It goes from 500 to 400 and 850 to 700. And then the bonus spell power gets nerfed as well at T2 and 3, which is 6 and 9 Warlord. From 50 at 6 to 40, and then from 85 at 9 Warlords to 70.
I'll be honest, man. I don't see a whole lot of Warlords, at least lately. And this got hit really hard. I wish Brawler got hit this hard. I feel like this one got hit probably almost the hardest out of any of the changes in this patch. Which, I'll be honest, you could flip Warlord and Brawler with how the percentage of changes, and I would have liked that a lot more. But, dang, man. That's crazy.
I think the thing was, like, and you'll see when we get to the characters again, like, Katarina Warlord was really good. Really good, at least last patch. Like, there were people that were spamming that. Like, you would get 2 or 3 people trying to run that in a lobby. It started to fade out a little bit because people started playing that Nico crit build, A Soul crit build, stuff like that. But it was still a really strong comp, and it didn't touch it. It's T1, so I think it's fine. But I do agree. I think Brawler needs to get hit a little bit harder.
Yeah.
Because honestly, Brawlers already have a lot of AD. They already have a lot of base AD. I don't think they needed more bonus AD.
Yeah. Early Brawler just smacks, and I don't know. I like the direction that they took this, because hopefully we can see Spirit or, I don't know, Sharpshooter or something, maybe just take a step up in the next coming patch. I really hope. We'll have to see.
Yeah, I've played a couple games of 6 Sharpshooter, and it went fine. I think I got like a 3rd and a 5th with it, but it definitely doesn't feel the same. The game is in a weird spot, and I'm kind of glad they did a good amount of nerfs to things. Not because it needed, like, this means the game's perfectly balanced, but it was more of, it felt like fights late game were done and over with. They would be done in like 5 seconds.
Yeah.
And I think, nerfing damage in a lot of spots, I think, is a good thing. because it helps things like Vanguard, helps things. Brawler got nerfed, but I mean, it makes tankier comps a little more viable instead of spamming duelists and things like that.
Yeah, 100%.
Getting over to the characters, we see Diana, Fiora, Nasus. Nasus pretty hard. Nidalee. Oh no. Nidalee, Wukong, and Yasuo all getting nerfs across the board. They nerf just about every T1 character in the game. The biggest one, it might be Nidalee.
Which, I mean, I kind of get it. Like, Nidalee is stupid strong for a level 1 character that I see too many people running spell crit and, Quicksilver, and then I think Death Cap on her, I want to say. And it's just nuts on how people can just demolish with a level 1 character.
You would see a lot of Shojin. Shojin's such a good item on
yeah.
Yeah. So the changes to her are pretty wild. I don't actually know if this is going to end up being a huge nerf to her because of the way they did the changes. So her spear damage used to be 225 base, 300, and 600 based on her how many stars she was. It's now 100, 150, and 250. Sounds like a crazy nerf, right?
Yeah.
But here's the silver lining, the caveat, Instead of being 20% bonus damage per distance, like per hex distance,
yeah,
80. It's 80.
That is insane.
So we'll see what that does. I think early game that definitely slows her down a lot, because a lot of fights are going to end up pretty close quarters for the most part. But once you have people getting front lines and things like that out there, and people getting tankier and just getting stronger in general, late game that could be pretty scary if you get her C3.
Yeah,
because she can still and here's why she can be a lot more viable. Just throw a rapid fire on her instead.
Ooh, yeah, because she's just doing more % damage of distance rather than hitting harder, which overall would be harder.
Yeah, so she might still be okay. I think all in all, it will be she'll see a lot less play. I think that's the point of the nerfs, is to see less play. But I think she could still be viable if you build her right.
Yeah, 100%.
Just looking at other character changes, 2 costs, we see Braum and Nautilus both get buffs. Nautilus got bonus or additional magic resistance and armor. Braum got a lower mana cost to his ult. It's only 60 instead of 70 now, and he attacks faster. Why? I don't know, but he does. So that's kind of cool. T3 characters, we see Aurelia get a buff to her disarm duration at T3 only. Here's what we were talking about with Warlord. And Assassin. This works for both. Katarina's ult, they nerfed the amount of targets she gets per based on how many stars she is. So it used to be 4, 6, or 8 targets. It's now 4, 5, or 6. It sounds like a big deal, but I don't see it as a huge problem, because a lot of times she's stuck attacking backline people, and a lot of times she's not really hitting max targets anyways.
Yeah, no, I agree. That one doesn't bug me, but I glance down at the other two, and this next, I mean, you know what? Actually, it's not that. Go ahead. I'll say why I don't think it's that bad, actually.
Yeah. So then the other part is the actual total spell damage. Tier 3 of it got nerfed. So when she's 3-star, the damage went from 1650 total to 1500. Tier 1 and 2 are still the exact same.
My thing is with this, early on, level 1 and 2, she's the same. She's still really good. Yes, at T3 there is a pretty decent drop-off, but I mean, you're still possibly hard carrying with Cat, and same with the amount of targets she hits late from 8 to 6. You're still hitting 5 at level 2. Level 2 Cat still really good. Still honestly really good. You don't have to worry about it until she hits T3. That's when you'll see the drop off. Sure, late game you might see less Cat just destroying victories. You'll still see Cat carry you into top 4 though, I think, pretty easily. Potentially.
Yeah, she can still definitely be viable. I think if you're playing her in a Warlord comp, I don't know if she'll fit as easily. I really see Cat as more of an assassin comp carry.
Okay.
Because of the spell crit potential. And you know, the Titan's Resolve Cat combo.
Yeah. Which is insane.
With a Hex Tech, like she can delete still. Even with the nerf to T3, she can literally just nuke a team with her ult. Other T3 characters, let's see, Kennen and Nico both got small buffs to their ult's damages at at all levels actually for both of them. Consume for Nunu saw a nerf in damage at T3 from 1800 to 1500. Shyvana, this was the other one I was bringing up with with Brawler. Her base health went from 750 to 700. Her base magic resist went from 80 to 60. And then her burn damage on her ultimate, on her auto attacks, went from 150, 300, and 600 based on tier to 125, 250, and 500. So I think I think this is another one where you'll start to see her get played a little bit less. I think this was a good change because she was getting, whether it was Brawler or Dragon Soul, she was kind of the focus for your items 100%. In both of those comps, which I think I think that just shows that that character is a little too strong. She shouldn't be that important in two different compositions. So I think it was a good change. I think it's a good balance for the T3 characters for the most part. When you look at 4 costs, Aatrox actually got a buff to his ult damage at all 3 levels. Aurelian Soul's ult damage got nerfed only at tier 3. A good bit though. It was 1750, it's now 1400. Cho'Gath got a buff to his armor from 40 to 60, so 50% increase. Kayle got a nerf to her ultimate damage at tiers 2 and 3. It used to be 180 and 500, it is now 150 and 400. Olaf got a balancing done to his cleave damage. Talon got a buff to his ult at tier 3. Tryndamere got a little help with his mana cost when the round starts, and then a slight nerf to Xayah at tier 3. Round things out, Yone was probably one of the most notable 5 costs to get a change. She got a buff to his ult at tier 1 and tier 3. And then Samira actually got a nerf to her attack's range.
Yeah, the Samira change I think was really good because it felt like she just completely dominated his zone at times. You just got a T2 Samira and I felt like that was kind of it. I don't know. I mean, there wasn't a whole lot of changes throughout tier 5. The slight stuff in T4 was kind of nice with Cho'Gath. He did kind of feel weak for a tier 4 character. They even kind of made a little comment in here that, he's supposed to be a crowd control character. But outside of that, I mean, everything else feels pretty good, I want to say. For a lot of the changes, I think Olaf really needed a lot of help. I love that character so much in TFT, but he's just not good. So
yeah, and one thing to make note of that I forgot to mention is that his invulnerable thing, his unstoppable thing, apparently it wasn't blocking stuff that did attack damage reduction. He now blocks attack damage reduction when he's in his ult. Moving to items, there are a couple changes to items that were pretty interesting here. Gargoyle Stoneplate got a slight buff for the bonus armor matrices per character surrounding the wearer. The 2 interesting changes, though, were to Deathblade and Static Shiv. So Deathblade, it used to start with 20 stacks. and used to start with 1 stack, but every time they essentially participated in destroying a unit, it would go up 20. They changed it to where now it's 10 per takedown instead of 20, but you start with 4 stacks. So you're starting with more, but you're not ending with like 160 stacks like you used to. The other one, Static Shiv, sorry. Shiv no longer deals bonus damage to shields, but they kind of reworked how Static Shiv works. It can now critically strike. I'm guessing it just goes based off of the character's crit chance. Static Shiv crits reduce the magic resist of targets by 60% for 6 seconds. The Shiv damage has been nerfed from 80 to 60, and the amount of targets is consistent at 4 instead of scaling based on the character's level.
Yeah, I think this is really smart. I mean, you never, I think, really saw Static Shiv on a lot of people, and this might even make sharpshooters a little more usable, because some of them, I think, with the Static Shiv could be pretty clean on them. But yeah, no, definitely a great item to get changed. It had a huge use, I want to say, about maybe, I don't know, a year ago in TFT when people were just stacking, 3 Static Shivs, and it kind of just died after the huge nerfs it took. It might be a really good spot for Static Shiv, or this might just completely bust it.
I think it does put it in a very interesting spot, and I think you're right when you said it definitely looks like this item can cater to a sharpshooter comp. Because if you have the Shiv and you put a Rune-ins on that character, they're basically attacking twice, and then they're getting all the ricochets, and both attacks are getting the stacks on the Shiv prop. So they're going to be constantly shivving people, reducing magic resist. So if you put it on, let's say, Sivir, you put that on her because it all gives her a bunch of bonus attack damage and speed, and then you have a Teemo, and his ult just kind of bounce around to everyone. That's a really good combination. So I think that puts Shiv in a really cool spot, because now it seems like it can be really viable in certain comms, whereas before it just kind of felt like it was out there.
Yeah, that's probably one of the most exciting changes. There's a lot of buffs and nerfs to the characters, but I think, as weird as it is, that item can just completely help shift a lot of stuff.
Yeah, I think it's definitely going to be a lot of fun. I like a lot of the changes. I think a lot of good balancing went through. I haven't gotten a chance to play the new patch myself, so I'll have to get into it and see how it goes, or how it plays, I should say. Yeah. But I do like a lot of the changes.
Yeah, totally fair.
Yep, so I think that's going to do it for our story for the day, all about TFT Patch 11.4. Thank you for those of you that listened in, as always. If you've enjoyed the show, if you're listening on any of the podcasting platforms out there, be sure to follow or subscribe to us, so you can get our episodes of This Week in Gaming as they come out. Let us know what you think about TFT 11.4. You can tweet us at the Nerd Chambers. If you want to find everything the Nerd Chambers in one spot, just go to our website, thenerdchambers.com. There's even a link in there to join our Discord if you ever want to come hang out, play games and such.